What have been some of the most difficult moments over the past 5 years?
Any Easter, any holidays where Megan should be here with us, and she's not.
Today marks 5 years since Megan Montgomery's life was tragically cut short in a case that rattled Alabama. The 31-year-old shot to death, found in a Mountain Brook parking lot.
Her estranged husband, former police officer Jason McIntosh, got his gun back 9 months after a domestic altercation where Megan was hurt and used that weapon to shoot and kill his wife.
Brittany Decker sat down with her family as they remember and honor her life.
Once Megan's beloved companion,
We now have her last adoptee,
Maya, who finds comfort living with Megan's family, a bittersweet reminder of a daughter gone too soon.
Maya was real shy.
A quiet resilience that mirrors the woman who saved her. Megan Montgomery was a force to be reckoned with.
Tenacious, funny, kind, compassionate, just a sweetheart of a person.
Voted most likely to save the world.
And she decided her life was to save animals. That's what she was born for. Graduation, UAB, master's degree.
But Megan's path took a harrowing turn when she became a survivor of domestic violence. After escaping her abuser, Megan shifted her life purpose and shared it with her mom.
I want to help other women learn the warning signs, how to get out before it's too late, and help them with the legal system, because all of that, she was failed. And so that was her mission. She said, that is my new calling.
So she thought if that could happen to her, it could happen to anybody.
Our last family Christmas picture. She was going to testify against her husband in 3 days. She died before she could testify.
December 1st. It's been 5 years since that day turned their lives upside down.
That's stuff you see in the movies. That doesn't happen to me. That's not somebody I know. Not Megan. Megan's strong.
In the face of unbearable loss.
Look what she wrote on her post. It's so sweet.
Megan's mom, Suzanne, stepdad, Rod, sister Meredith, and best friend Katie.
And she was an extraordinary person. I was so lucky.
Shared with me how they've channeled their grief into action.
We'll never get over losing Megan, never. But we have to move forward and make good things come out of evil.
Megan's tragic death giving birth to the Megan Montgomery Foundation.
We say her name every single day.
Their focus to educate young people about healthy relationships, aiming to prevent abuse by addressing its roots.
Today, we will be talking about healthy relationships.
Everybody thinks domestic violence is this one happening, passionate event, and it's not. It starts very early, and it starts as early as middle school with certain predictive behaviors, like bullying, control.
Trust goes along with healthy relationships.
They've already raised over $230,000, funding programs in schools across Alabama.
We are honored to be a grantee.
If you think it's unhealthy, raise your hand.
Like this class we stopped by at Ramsey High School, facilitated by Girls Inc.
Healthy relationships and dating violence prevention programs are well needed for youth.
Once they have the information, some people don't even realize they're in that situation.
It's just so crazy how prevalent it is. When people would never talk about it, and then after she died, people talk about it.
And if you impact even just one person to instill the messaging and the tools, it's just huge.
We received a letter from an abuse victim. If only I had this education before. And then she said, and I wish my children could have had it too.
How proud would she be knowing how big this is and the impact that it's made?
Well, I think she would be very proud, and then she would have another to-do list of some more stuff we need to be doing, for sure.
That is Megan's legacy. They're going to move forward, and they're going to make something positive out of it, because that's what she did.
We know we're doing what we should be doing, what we've been called to do, and what Megan wanted to do.
The best mission, because it's her mission.
In the quiet moments, Maya offers a touch of Megan's spirit.
That was the best present she had under the tree that year, was little baby Maya.
Megan's present to the world, her presence now shining through a legacy, etched not only in stone, but through the lives she continues to touch. Her mission, driven by love, lives on. Brittany Decker, WVTM 13.
And because Megan died at the age of 31, her family's goal is for the foundation to have schools funded across the state by the year 2031. We also want to add the Megan Montgomery Foundation emphasizes the importance of providing support not only for victims of domestic abuse, but also for abusers, offering resources like helplines and counseling to help break the cycle of abuse. You can find that information on our website.